If your dog's dinner bowl could talk, would it confess to being food or a slow, silent weapon shaving years off your best friend's life? Behind the smiling dogs on the bag and the healthy buzzwords, there are brands in millions of kitchens that have been linked to euthanasia drugs, organ failure, and recalls that read like crime reports. Many are the same trusted names people have been buying for decades without a second thought. Today you're going to see 9 dog foods you should avoid at all costs, and 2 brands that are actually worth your money in your dog's life. Okay, let's start with a brand that might be in your pantry right now. Purina Beneful looks cheerful on the shelf. Bright colors, happy dogs, real beef, and farm-raised chicken stamped across the bag. Crack it open and look closer. That rainbow kibble comes loaded with artificial dyes like yellow 5 and red 40, chemicals that don't nourish your dog and have been linked to allergic reactions and hyperactivity in animals. Run your fingers through the kibble and notice the greasy residue. That isn't wholesome fat. It often comes from cheap, low-quality oils that oxidize and go rancid, forming compounds that can inflame your dog's gut and organs over time. Then there's propylene glycol, a chemical cousin of antifreeze used to keep kibble moist and textured. It may be allowed in controlled amounts, but why should something used in industrial products be in your senior dog's dinner bowl at all? Thousands of pet owners have reported dogs on foods like this suddenly becoming lethargic, vomiting, losing their appetite, and showing signs of liver and kidney damage. Blood work can look like that of an elderly patient in organ failure, even when the dog seemed fine just months earlier. If you've told yourself, it's just old age, but the decline feels too fast, it might be the bag, not the birthday. Okay, next we have a so-called budget favorite that hits people on fixed incomes. Old Roy is Walmart's bargain house brand. On paper, it sounds perfect. Big bag, low price, loyal dog fed. But when independent labs and investigators dug into what was actually inside, the picture turned dark fast. Instead of real, recognizable meat, Old Roy has been found loaded with meat byproducts and rendered material, beaks, feet, feathers, organs, and other slaughterhouse scraps that would never be allowed on a human plate. This is the kind of low-grade protein that's legal for animals but considered unfit for people. Then came the scandal that should have made every dog owner drop their bowl. Multiple dog foods from the same corporate family, Old Roy, Gravy Train, Kibbles and Bits, and others, were recalled after testing positive for pentobarbital, a drug used to euthanize animals. A euthanasia drug in dog food. Regulators have been clear, even trace amounts of pentobarbital should never be in any pet food. Contamination usually comes from rendered animals entering the supply chain, livestock that died before slaughter, or even euthanized animals from shelters, cooked into a slurry and turned into meat and bone meal. Owners reported dogs suddenly collapsing, seizing, or acting sedated after eating food they'd been on for years. For people whose dog is their only daily companion, discovering that the cheap food may have come with a deadly hidden cost is devastating. Okay, moving on to another brand from that same web. Gravy Train sounds homey and comforting. Who doesn't like gravy? But in 2018, it made headlines when testing found pentobarbital contamination in multiple batches, triggering a major recall that swept store shelves. The gravy itself is part of the problem. That thick, glossy sauce that makes dogs go wild is often designed to mask low-quality or rancid meat, using thickeners, flavorings, and additives to hide the smell and taste. When you pour it out and watch it congeal into an unnatural gel, that isn't slow-cooked meat juices, that's chemistry doing damage control. Long-term owners have reported dogs on foods like this developing tremors, seizures, sudden collapse, or eerie personality changes, becoming aggressive or withdrawn, as if something neurological is slipping. Even when pentobarbital levels aren't high enough to kill instantly, the fear is what happens when a dog gets tiny doses, day after day, year after year. If your dog suddenly hesitates before eating, sniffs the bowl, and looks uneasy, are they being picky, or are their instincts picking up something you can't smell? Okay, next on the list is a brand that looks fun and harmless. Kibbles and Bits looks playful, fun shapes, bright colors, commercials full of wagging tails. but veterinary nutritionists have raised red flags about it for years. Flip the bag over. Corn shows up again and again, often in several forms in the first few ingredients. Ground corn, corn gluten meal, corn syrup. That means the bulk of your dog's calories comes from cheap carbohydrates instead of high-quality animal protein. For a carnivore-based metabolism, that's like fueling a sports car with sugar water. These carbs spike blood sugar and contribute to obesity, diabetes, and pancreatitis, painful, expensive conditions to manage. Vets see dogs needing insulin injections, special prescription diets, and constant monitoring because their fun food is acting like junk food in a bowl. Kibbles and Bits was also caught in the euthanasia drug recall net when canned versions tested positive for pentobarbital, again exposing how dirty parts of the supply chain can be. Okay, now let's talk about a classic name you've definitely seen. Alpo feels classic. Your grandparents might have fed it, your parents might have trusted it, and the brand leans on nostalgia and celebrity endorsements. But what's inside the can tells a different story. Multiple recalls have hit Alpo over the years, including problems related to vitamin D toxicity. Vitamin D is essential in small amounts, but when levels skyrocket due to manufacturing errors, it can cause kidney failure, vomiting, increased thirst, and even death. Open certain low-quality canned foods and the meat doesn't slide out like food. It plops out as a gelatinous mass holding the shape of the can. That jelly-like binder often comes from rendered fats and gelling agents, not natural collagen-rich cuts. The chunks can look pale and gray, collapsing into mush when pressed. Add preservatives like BHA and BHT, chemicals long questioned as possible carcinogens, and you get a formula that may sit safely on a shelf while sending your dog's kidneys and liver into overdrive just to cope. Okay, moving on to a huge name with huge advertising. Pedigree is backed by a global corporate giant and an advertising budget big enough to put golden retrievers on every TV screen on Earth. The marketing screams love and care, but the ingredient list whispers something else: corn, wheat gluten, animal fat, and chicken byproduct meal, instead of clear, identifiable cuts of meat. That byproduct meal can include rendered organs, tissue, and bone cooked at high temperatures, stripping out much natural nutrition and leaving behind low-grade proteins. Vets often see the same pattern in dogs-fed foods heavy in cheap grains and byproducts: inflamed, yeasty skin, chronic ear infections, greasy coats with a musty odor that doesn't go away with baths. That doggy smell people joke about often isn't normal. It's the smell of chronic inflammation and poor diet trying to escape through the skin. Pedigree has also been associated with salmonella contamination incidents, which threaten not just dogs, but people handling the food, especially kids and seniors with weaker immune systems. When bacteria like this slip through manufacturing, everyone in the house is suddenly part of the risk. Okay, next we have a celebrity-backed healthy brand. Rachel Ray Nutrish is where many health-conscious owners thought they were upgrading. A celebrity chef, rustic packaging, promises of real ingredients, and kitchen-inspired recipes. It looks like the human-grade revolution in a bag. But investigations and lawsuits have raised uncomfortable questions. Glyphosate, the active ingredient in the weed killer Roundup and a chemical at the center of international cancer concerns, has been detected in some dog food samples, including brands marketed as natural or premium. While regulators argue over what safe means on paper, most owners hear weed killer and decide that doesn't belong in a dog's dinner. Owners and vets have reported dogs on certain formulas developing unexplained weight loss, liver strain, kidney problems, or aggressive cancers, raising fears that contaminated or low-quality ingredients may be contributing to long-term health decline. On top of that, there have been recalls over oversized, rock-hard kibble pieces posing choking hazards or cracking dogs' teeth, mistakes that should never happen in a carefully controlled food line. Okay, now let's get into a premium brand people pay extra for. Blue Buffalo was long seen as the darling of the premium market. Majestic wolves on the bag, bold promises like no poultry byproduct meal, no corn, wheat, or soy, and holistic nutrition. Pet owners paid premium prices believing they'd finally found a brand that did things differently. Then reality hit. Blue Buffalo became the center of a high-profile lawsuit when it was revealed that some formulas did in fact contain poultry byproduct meal, despite claims to the contrary. Internal documents suggested certain executives knew about the discrepancy, yet kept the marketing going. That wasn't just a labeling error. It felt like a betrayal. Some Blue Buffalo lines have also been recalled for excessive vitamin D levels, causing hypercalcemia, too much calcium in the blood, which can damage kidneys, the heart, and other organs. Affected dogs may vomit, lose their appetite, drink and urinate excessively, and slide into kidney failure if not treated. Okay, and finally, in the avoid category, we have another household name. Purina Dog Chow is woven into American pet history. Over 90 years on the market, that iconic red and white checkerboard bag, generations of families who always used it. But longevity doesn't guarantee safety. Look at the label and you'll see a familiar pattern. Whole grain corn often appears first, followed by more grains and meat and bone meal. That meat and bone meal may be made from a mix of animal parts from multiple species, including animals that were sick or died from unknown causes before slaughter. They're rendered at high heat, which kills many pathogens, but not every toxin. Purina Dog Chow has been tied to salmonella contamination incidents in the past, with dogs falling violently ill, vomiting, bloody diarrhea, severe dehydration, and some not making it to the vet in time. Investigations in parts of the pet food industry have uncovered issues like poor sanitation, rodent droppings in production areas, and mold on equipment, shredding the idea that a big brand automatically means safety. Okay, so after all that, why are these foods still everywhere? Why they're still on shelves? After years of recalls, lawsuits, and horror stories from devastated owners, these brands are still everywhere. The smiling dogs are still on the bags. The commercials are still on TV. Most people still assume, if it were really that bad, they wouldn't be allowed to sell it. But the pet food industry operates under looser rules than human food. As long as labels are technically accurate and contamination events are handled with recalls, the machine keeps moving. The ones who pay the price aren't the executives. They're the dogs that can't read labels, and the owners drowning in vet bills and guilt, wondering if a different bag could have bought their best friend a few more healthy years. Okay, now let's talk about the two brands that actually earn their place in your cart. Hill's Science Diet. Hill's Science Diet traces back to a veterinarian in the 1930s who developed specialized food to help a dog with kidney disease. That origin matters because the company still leans on veterinary nutrition research rather than celebrity faces or trendy buzzwords. Hill's runs clinical feeding trials, employs teams of veterinarians and PhD nutritionists, and designs formulas for specific life stages and medical conditions, kidney support, heart health, digestive issues, weight management, and more. The goal is not just avoiding bad ingredients, but precisely balancing protein, fat, minerals, and vitamins so organs are supported instead of overloaded. Yes, Hill's has had recalls, most notably in 2019 for excessive vitamin D in certain canned dog foods. Okay, and now the last brand, the other one that belongs on the actually worth it list. Royal Canin. Royal Canin was founded by a veterinarian in France in the 1960s, and it took a different approach. Instead of making one or two generic recipes and slapping a dog picture on the bag, the company began engineering highly specific diets for certain breeds, sizes, and medical conditions. Royal Canin has formulas tailored to the jaw shape, chewing style, and common health issues of breeds like German Shepherds, Bulldogs, Chihuahuas, and Great Danes. Kibble size and texture are designed to match a dog's mouth and bite pattern, encouraging proper chewing and digestion instead of gulping. The brand also offers an extensive line of veterinary prescription diets, renal support, cardiac care, urinary stone prevention, hepatic support, skin and coat care, and more. Okay, so what does all this mean for you and your dog? The real choice. Are Hills and Royal Canin more expensive than the bargain bags stacked to the ceiling at the supermarket? Absolutely. But ask a brutally honest question. Do you want to save money at the checkout line or at the vet's office? Those cheap foods start to look very expensive when they turn into emergency visits at 2 a.m., months of medication, prescription diets, and the heartbreak of watching your dog decline from problems that might have been slowed or even prevented with better nutrition. Your dog doesn't know brands, marketing, or corporate scandals. They only know how they feel, whether their stomach hurts after eating, whether their joints ache, whether their ears itch non-stop, whether their energy is fading long before it should. You're the one who reads the back of the bag. You're the one who decides whether to keep trusting colorful marketing from brands tied to recalls, euthanasia drugs, and lawsuits, or to say, no more, and switch to food built, tested, and refined to keep your dog alive and well, not just quiet and full. Your dog can't drive to the store and pick a safer bag. They can't tell you, hey, this stuff is killing me. All they can do is trust that you'll notice the signs before it's too late. The dull coat, the endless scratching, the strange smell, the vomiting, the blood in the stool, the way they suddenly seem old at 6 or 7. They're waiting on you to make the switch.